Hello and welcome to another episode of The World at Temple, where we bring the world to you. I'm your host, Luv'en-Ya Rowland, and today we'll be giving you a look at what we've been up to this spring. From Lunar New Year festivities to how Temple is home to so many international students, you're in for a load of fun. All of this today on The World at Temple. Happy New Year! In America, we celebrate the New Year with fireworks and champagne. But let's take a look at how Eastern Asian countries celebrate the Lunar New Year. We had the opportunity to speak with Ling Lin, also known as Teacher Lin, from the Confucius Institute at Temple, to learn more about the holiday and her experience celebrating it away from home.
Chinese New Year is a major holiday, right? Not only observed in China, but also in other Asian countries such as, as you said, right, Vietnam and Japan, Korea, maybe Philippines, or maybe Malaysia. For Chinese people, the Chinese New Year is also called the Spring Festival. So it's kind of a celebration for the beginning of the spring. And also Spring Festival is also a lot about the family reunion. And during the almost 2 weeks of celebration, people have lots of feast, lots of food, lots of drinking involved. Compared to maybe most like the Thanksgiving here in the US. Because no matter where you are and what you do, and you will try every possible means to try to get back home to be with your family. And the most important meal of the year, as we call it, the New Year's Eve dinner, I think that's something like the Thanksgiving dinner here in the US. I've counted closely. Actually, I have been celebrating Chinese New Year outside, right, China, away from my family for about 10 years. And specifically like 4 years in Canada and 6 years in the US. And 4 years here in Philadelphia and 2 years in Columbus, Ohio. Tend to get homesick because you really miss the environment, right? The atmosphere there at home, and also you miss, the all kinds of, food, and you miss, the quality time spent with your families and relatives and friends. We do have some, traditional food we usually eat, right, to celebrate Chinese New Year. Now, for example, like people usually would like to have fish for the New Year's Eve dinner. Why? Because fish sounds like surplus, so it symbolizes the increase in prosperity. And another food we would traditionally have is dumplings. See, here I have the dumplings, the shape looks like, the Asian ingot, so which means the money, right? So it also symbolizes good fortune, good luck. And another, I think, the symbolic food we would have for the Chinese New Year is the glutinous rice cake. And it sounds like, higher as year goes by, so which means you're going to have, higher position or higher income, for the years for the coming years. So the zodiac animal of this year, 2019, is the year of the pig. But people have, old superstition. If it is your zodiac year, right, usually it's bad luck. So you have to really be cautious, right, lay low and try to get it passed smoothly, right? So I feel very fortunate because I just passed my zodiac year last year, right? 2018 was my year. I'm a dog, yes. We have lots of, traditional activities, right? For example, people will try to decorate their houses and in red and try to dress in red. And also we give out lots of, hongbao, literally means red bags with cash inside, right? This also kind of can be said as lucky money. So the statistics shows like billions of red envelopes is exchanged during the Spring Festival periods. I wish everyone at Temple a very happy and prosperous New Year. Chinese will be 新年快乐，恭喜发财，谢谢。Thank you.
It's so awesome that even though Lin Ling Laotia is far from home, home isn't far from her. Did you know that Temple University was recently awarded an over $1 million grant from the National Science Foundation? Dr. Hai-Lung Dai, originally from Taiwan, who is the Vice President of the Office of International Affairs, along with his colleague Dr. Eric Borguet from Ireland, are the two leaders facilitating the project.
So I am a faculty member here at Temple University in the Department of Chemistry in our College of Science and Technology. I was born in Ireland, where I spent my formative years, and then I went to college in France, in Paris.
I was born in Taiwan, came to the United States for graduate study, and I have been here the Dean of College of Science and Technology, later Provost, and now Vice President for International Affairs.
He was my PhD mentor, and since then we have maintained a very strong relationship, but we actually haven't collaborated really until this grant. So we have been given a grant by the National Science Foundation to construct and to develop a new type of microscope. This program, this major research instrumentation program of the National Science Foundation, requires matching funding from the university. And so Temple University has provided funding. The fact that our proposal was recognized by our peers is already very gratifying. It's also a reflection of the fact that Temple has invested in creating opportunities for students to do cutting-edge research.
Temple is number 15 in the world. We are even better than Yale University and University of Pennsylvania. This is the only one given in the category in the chemistry division with the grant size larger than $1 million.
We are building an instrument that will be useful to others at Temple University. We also anticipate that the successful instrument could be useful to people in the region and perhaps could even be commercialized. So essentially, we are going to improve the depth of focus of the microscope by orders of magnitude compared to a conventional microscope.
In the old way, or the traditional way, not only you see the surface, but the signal comes primarily from what's below the surface.
Or above the surface.
Or above the surface. But in this case, right, we only see what the structure right at the surface. So this gives us a very unique, what we say, sensitivity. This microscope can allow us to see the interactions of the molecules with the membrane.
I think that I would say that I think the students who and others who are looking at this should be very proud of the fact that they are at a university like Temple, where students can have the opportunity to come in and do research in a laboratory and make a difference. It's a wonderful thing, and I think it really can transform the lives of individuals. I would say seek out opportunities. Okay, there are opportunities in the research laboratories of the faculty here. There are many summer programs in the US and abroad that offer stipends for students to do research. Seek those out, apply for them, and I think you will be rewarded.
It's great to see such important work coming here from Temple. There are many other exciting things going on in Temple's international community, and here to talk about them are Joan McGinley and Samantha Kelley from the Office of International Affairs. Joan and Samantha, thank you so much for being on the show with us today.
It's a pleasure.
It's our pleasure.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, my pleasure. Why don't you guys introduce yourselves and tell us about your role here at Temple?
Joan?
My name is Joan McGinley. I'm the director of the Office of International Student and Scholar Services. So I oversee incoming student applications, current student applications. We have individuals who come here to do research. We have individuals who come here to work on temporary visas. So I kind of oversee all of that. So getting them here and maintaining their status while they're here, and then still keeping them informed, because a lot of our students apply for an employment benefit that keeps them under our advising jurisdiction even after they've graduated from Temple. So we keep track of people for a good period of time from start to end.
Right, that was a lot of stuff. You mentioned something about people coming in for research. Tell us a bit about that.
I know you know that there's amazing research being done at Temple, here on main campus and the health science campus. A lot of the people engaged in that research are here on temporary J visas or temporary H visas. A lot of postdoctoral fellows, research scientists, a lot of people come on visas, similar to students. It's the same process. And then they do their research, and then they generally, when their research is done, return to their home country.
Okay, yeah, I always wondered like who a J visa was for, but that kind of
It can be a student, or it can be a research scholar, it could be adjunct adjunct person. They fill a lot of capacities.
Cool. And Samantha, yes, what's your role?
So I'm the Assistant Director for Global Programs, and so I work in an office right next to where Joan is located. And we work with students that come from our partner universities overseas. So Temple has something like 170 different partner universities from representing all different regions around the world. And we work with students in particular that come for study abroad or exchange for 1 semester or for 1 year. I work a lot with students that come for a program called the Dual Bachelor's Master's Degree Program. And so they complete part of their, they complete their bachelor's degree at their home university, and they come to Temple for their master's degree, and they're able to complete both in less time. So it's a benefit I wish I had when I was going to college. And we have dual PhD programs. We have all kinds of programs for students coming from partner universities.
That's awesome. There's so many opportunities for like students to get involved in various areas, various programs. Right. What drew the both of you to Temple?
Well, I can tell you I came here as an undergraduate.
Okay.
A long time ago, and I just never left. I came here, a friend of mine was working in what was then called the Study Abroad office. She left, and way back then, Study Abroad and ISS were one unit. She left her position and I took it, so I was a student worker. And then I transitioned over to ISS, and I just kind of got myself comfy, and I just never left.
So you know firsthand what it's like to be like behind the scenes and not in this role as well.
Yeah, very first, yeah.
Yeah.
I've been here for a significant amount of time.
Cool.
Sam's just
Joan
a
knows,
baby here.
like I'm just a baby in the realm of things, but she honestly knows every single like regulation, like everything. If you have any questions, like Joan is the person to go to.
Most of the time I know the right person to ask.
Okay.
But
It's
usually Joan. What about you, Samantha? What drew you to Temple?
So I had, I've always loved traveling, and I've lived in a couple other countries. And initially, I had gone for a PhD program in international relations. And a couple years in, I thought, you know, I don't necessarily want to be on the academic side, but I love higher ed. And so just before I was completing, I saw this. I was just kind of like perusing jobs. And I saw this job at Temple that kind of like was a fusion of all the things that I loved, like working with international students, the ability to travel, still being able to do advising and things like this without some of like the publish or perish constraints that you have with a tenure track position. So I applied, and I'm so happy I'm here. So I've been here 2.5 years.
Awesome.
Which is you know not a long time.
But that's crazy because you said you lived abroad before, and so you can somewhat relate to the international students you work with. Yeah.
Yes, everything from like the feeling of homesickness to just not understanding like immigration requirements and kind of having like a panic attack about like, oh my God, what paper do I fill out? What line do I have to stand in? Okay, a stamp here. I didn't get a staple. I have to go to the back of like all the things that you kind of think about.
It's so frustrating. What are some of the biggest obstacles that you hear international students complain about?
Joan?
In what area? I mean, it depends. I mean, a big obstacle is the inability to work off campus as easily. That's a big obstacle. A driver's license, that can be an obstacle. Just trying to get down to the DMV and make sure you have all the right paperwork. health insurance. I mean, the fact that here you really need it and it's really expensive.
It is, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they're not obstacles, just like kind of getting the concept of them and what you need to get them. And, you know, I know that students get inundated with emails. Like, I know, seriously. The next
You
step.
send a lot of the emails.
I do.
For everyone's help.
That's true. No, it's been very helpful receiving your emails.
Yeah, well, I hope people are reading them.
Yeah.
I really do. I genuinely try not to do too many because, you know, I get a lot of emails.
Right.
And I'm thinking I can't read all. I do read them all, but I know how it is to be like, which of these emails is the most important? But so understanding how to go about getting all the things that are like, even taxes. People keep asking me tax questions. I'm like, I don't do my taxes. I don't know how to help. So I had to, you know, try to. I did find like a tax turbo for international students.
Yeah.
That's been
helpful.
Yay.
Tax turbo. Okay, you said one of the obstacles was international students finding a job outside. Like of late, with the recent political climate, have international student enrollments like decreased? Have they declined?
They have. I was just talking to Martin, and Martin's the director of international. Actually, he used to be the director of international student scholar services. Now he's moved up. But the numbers of applicants for fall 2019 is kind of all on par of where it was before.
Okay.
Fall. So we're kind of slowly creeping back to normal. But I do know some people that did not come because of the political climate here.
Right.
And you know, it's unfortunate. We're missing some good people. I know that.
Oh yeah.
So we are trying to do our best here with Sam and our whole unit to keep who we have here happy.
Okay.
So
that's really good to hear.
Yeah.
What are some of the assets you think international students bring to the table when they come to study in America?
So I teach a class called Global Citizenship.
Nice.
And the beauty of that class is half of the students are international students and the other half are domestic students. So they're from the US, from wherever, you know, wherever it is in the US. And one of my favorite moments is when we all just talk about an event like a wedding. How do you experience that in your culture?
Wow, yeah.
And students just light up. No matter where they're from, they light up being able to share a unique part of their experience with someone else that has no idea about what it's like to be in that country. Yeah. And it works both ways. And so I really feel like it opens up different ways of understanding the world by having international students here.
Right.
And also, and I would hope that international students are also getting something out of it as well, learning more about American culture.
Yeah.
And yeah, just being able to share that and to create friendships, lifelong friendships.
Right.
Students that have been so I've been here almost 3 years, and students that were in the class from like 3 falls ago, I'll go on our social media and I'll see that they're still visiting each other in like Lebanon or France, or they're in Beijing, or, you know, wherever it is, and they're traveling and visiting one another. And I know that those friendships are going to continue for many years.
Thank you for sharing that. That's something I definitely identify with, being an international student. But yes, it's been amazing having your insight here. Thank you so much for being on the show with us again today.
Yeah,
It's
you're welcome.
our pleasure.
Thanks for having us.
Want to learn more about Vietnam? Well, our reporter Yifan Rain Sheng had a chance to attend the Vietnamese International Coffee Hour, and this student-organized event was supported by Temple's International Student Affairs Office. Let's take a look.
Hi, my name is Leah Hetzel. I'm the Director of International Student Affairs at Temple University, and I'm joined by Marina Arifin, who's our Assistant Director of International Student Affairs. And we're here to talk about our latest monthly coffee hour, which we are featuring Vietnam. And this one, we've been planning Vietnam for a really long time. From the beginning, we thought like Vietnam would be a really fun one to do, and we've had some students who were just so passionate about making it happen. You know, we had a student who, over the break, went home and, you know, purchased the snacks and traditional coffee and brought them with her. And just everyone's been really excited about making this happen.
I would have to say that working with the students have been such a great pleasure. We've had about 8 students from Vietnam who have participated in the planning committee, and they have met several times leading up to today. And we're very excited to showcase their country and all that it has to offer, everything from language to their points of interest in various parts of Vietnam, as well as the cuisine, the drinking culture in Vietnam as well. So, going back to Leah's point, these coffee hours are a great way to highlight countries that are some of them popular and some of them lesser known, and just highlighting specifically the culture itself to everyone, and to learn new things about the people from around the world, essentially.
Yeah.
I think the event is great. You get to meet new people, get to meet other Vietnamese students on campus. So I think it's a really good social event for me as well. And it's just to see students from other countries that come in and just appreciate the culture. I think it's really cool as well. We get to taste Vietnamese coffee, which is one of the big part of Vietnamese culture. And coffee is different in 3 different regions of Vietnam as well. So it's really cool to see how different people from different regions appreciate the coffee differently and have different views on coffee. And just get to learn more about different games they play in different regions.
Wow, I would have loved to try those Vietnamese snacks. Well, here from Vietnam herself, we have Nhi Nguyen, an international student who is here to tell us all about how she wants to empower women in the management consulting field. Nhi, thank you so much for joining us on the show today.
Thank you so much for inviting me.
Now tell me a bit more about yourself. What's your major, where are you from, and how has your experience here at Temple been?
So I'm a junior. My major is Management Information System. I'm a Fox student, and I'm originally from Ho Chi Minh City, which is the south of Vietnam.
Nice. Okay, what year are you in again?
Junior.
You're a junior. Okay, how has Temple been so far?
So it's been amazing so far, the experience. The first reason why I decided to go to Temple is that I want to step outside of my comfort zone, and I wanted to see snow for the first time falling down from the sky.
Yeah.
So that's one thing. And when I'm here, I feel like truly a second home here at Temple, because people are so welcoming and people are very inclusive and asking you to participate in a lot of activity on campus.
That's awesome. We do have a very diverse campus, so I'm sure you felt right at home.
Definitely, yeah.
Yeah, tell me a bit more about your major, Management Information Systems. I know you also have a minor in Management Consulting.
Mm-hmm.
Right, are those two things similar? Are they very different from each other?
So for Management Information System, it's originally is technical within the business field. In that you mean you will go out and then you talk about IT to all of the business operations. But then for management in consulting, it's a different field in which you will blend on strategic management, so that you will look at the operation of the company or an organization as a whole and give them recommendation.
Nice. And you are the program associate of the Temple University Management Consulting Program.
Mm-hmm.
How has that been? What drew you to become part of this program?
I wanted to do something challenging, and then I want to do something related to problem solving, rational thinking, and as well as teamwork. So I think that I want to look into consulting because that fit my personality. As a result, I asked around and then the Department Strategic Management and asked them whether I can ask them for a job and whether I can be there and learn experience from one of the professors at Temple. So that's how I got into consulting.
Awesome. And you said you wanted to get involved with problem solving.
Mm-hmm.
Now tell me a bit about the Women in Consulting Forum that you started. Was that something that sparked from that?
So before that, I actually participate in a lot of case competition within Fox. And then my team, we are a 3-woman team. And after that, a lot of people start coming to us and ask like, how are you going to do that as a team? Like, how, like the competition, and how can you improve from that? And also, I was a part of Temple Consulting Club. So when people come in, a lot of female students actually went up and asked me like, if I'm a female, then how can I be a part of this career path? Because I know it's very hard for them to join. And then I was like, oh wow, we have a lot of great guest speakers out there. We have a lot of female who's a leading manager at a lot of consulting firms. So I just want to create a bridge to bring the gap between our students and all of the leading aspiring women.
That is so inspiring. Tell me a bit about the faculty and the support you received like for this project, given that it's a women-driven program.
So one of the professors that I look up to the most and always seek for advice is Professor Eric Borguet.
Okay.
So she's an assistant professor and then teaches some of the management consulting courses at Temple. Her background is very diverse. She used to be a VP of Morgan Chase, and then she decided to leave the big firm and started her own consulting field. So that is where I get my inspiration as well as motivation from.
Awesome. Now, we've just talked about two of your roles, but you're also involved in the Study Abroad Office and the International Student Advisory Board. Can you share a bit about that?
So for Study Abroad, after I went to Temple, so the honors program advisor, they say that, oh, now you're at Temple, now fly away. So that's why I decided to study abroad. In summer 2017, I studied abroad in Japan.
Wow.
And then summer 2018, I did an internship in Dublin, Ireland. And after that, I noticed a lot of international students, when they went here, they didn't know that they could study abroad again. So I contact the study abroad department at Temple and say, hey, I want to become the peer advisors because I want to show them that there's an international student actually already study abroad, so they can come and ask for help and advice on things.
Okay. I like how you said they didn't know they had an opportunity to study abroad again.
Yeah.
I had like, because I'm from Malaysia, and I had a few people ask me if I've ever studied abroad, and I said, I'm here.
Yeah, we are like already study abroad.
Yeah.
So if we study abroad again, it's like study abroad.
Study abroad, yeah. What has your experience been studying abroad here in Temple? Like, what has been your biggest takeaway?
The biggest takeaway is to be very open-minded. A lot of time when we talk to people, we tend to assume other way because we having different backgrounds. But then when you talk to them and then you tell them your story and you also say that, hey, I understand your other end as well, then it'll be very easy for you to share your culture and be easy for other people to understand your viewpoint as well.
Yeah, true. Now, being an international student, you've gotten involved in so many different aspects. Were you nervous to start getting involved when you first came, or was that something that came naturally to you?
So it's actually a very hardworking effort. At first, I was very shy, especially the language barrier. You know, when you go here and then people speak fluent English, and then I'm trying to process it in Vietnamese and then try to speak it in English. But then it get naturally, like I naturally adapt to it, and I also like, again, challenging problems. So I want to step out of my comfort zone and try my best to understand people.
That's great. Now, did you feel a lot of homesickness when you first came, or did you find it easy to make friends with people here?
So at first, my freshman year, yes. But then for my second semester of freshman year, I started to have a lot of friends and like American friends. And then they asked me, hey, you should cook Vietnamese food for us. And then I went to their house, I cooked Vietnamese food, and we watched some random Vietnamese film and then music videos, and they become my second home.
Oh, that's great.
So I don't miss my family as much anymore. So I'm very appreciative for what Temple have given me.
Nice. And what is your plan for after you graduate with all the things you've been involved in, especially the Women's Consulting Forum? Like, what do you plan to do with that?
So for that, I want to continue my career within the consulting field, and especially in the tech consulting. And I also want to inspire other younger generations, saying that, hey, this career is open to everyone, and if you have the motivation and inspiration, then you'll be able to do and become as successful as other panelists that we have from the event.
Well, thank you so much, Nhi, for all the hard work you're putting into making a change for the women here at Temple, and for being on the show with us today. so inspiring that international students like Nhi Nguyen are playing an active role in advocating for women here in America. Well, that just about wraps up our show for today. A huge thank you to our reporters Cameron Toft and Rain Sheng, and to all of our guests for their stories and interviews today. As always, we hope that these stories have given you a new and exciting cultural perspective. Until next time, have fun exploring the world at Temple.